guys, welcome to the channel. It's Liam from Racer's Edge. So today we're going to be doing a oil change on this 1996 Toyota Previa, or Tarago as they're known. So we're going to show you exactly what you need and how to do it. So without further ado, let's get on with the job and show you how it's done. The items that will help you do this job are a floor mat to lay on, a 14mm extension and ratchet, a funnel, some vinyl or latex gloves, an oil catch tray and bowl to catch and put the sump nut in. The correct specified oil for the job, which in this case is 10W40, and of course your Racer's Edge, or if you can't get Racer's Edge, the next best overalls. Now when you're doing an oil change on a Toyota Previa Mark 1, the oil filler cap is actually under the passenger seat if you're in the UK. Obviously other models it will be the other side. Now most people think it's under the bonnet. On these the engine is actually under the seat, and to access that there's a little yellow lever just under your seat which you lift, push the seat back. That will give us access to the engine panel just here, which you can turn to unlock and lift to give us access to the engine oil and dipstick, which I'll show you now. So this is where we've removed the panel from under the seat. Your engine oil goes in here as it's quite clearly labelled, along with your engine oil dipstick, which is just over here. Now when you're changing your auto transmission, it's done through this dipstick over here, the auto transmission oil. Don't get the two confused. Obviously it's pretty hard anyway, being as they're completely labelled, but very clearly engine oil, and that one isn't labelled at all. So it's very difficult. But as I say, so yeah, I suppose it can be done, but you'd have to be pretty silly, a big plonker to do that one, but yeah, I suppose it could be done. But yeah, that's what we're going to do now. So we'll show you the next bit under the car. So prior to removing the sump nut, what we do is we undo the cap to allow vacuum to go through and air to go through, and we also pop the engine oil out so that you can get maximum airflow so it drains better. Right, so let's go under the car. So when we go under the car, we've got our mat down and we slide our oil catch can underneath, and our sump, I call it a sump bowl, but basically you keep one of those handy for your sump nut, so that when you undo your sump nut and take it out, you don't have to put it in the oil bowl. Saves you a lot of mess and a lot of air growth, and you know where the bolt is, which is also handy. So now I'm going to try and position you in such a way where you can see what's going on. If I put you right the way over here, you should be able to see what's going on. So, put that out of the way. You find your oil sump nut. Make sure you're well and truly on. And when you're well and truly on, you crack it off. As you can see, audible crack there. You get your drain bar in place. Not in the way of it, but work around it. case, I think, as much as I don't like doing it, I may have to let the bolt go into the oil, which in some cases is better. As many cases where possible, do try and avoid it, obviously. I may get away with it if I'm a lucky boy. And do not get confused. The sump on these for the auto transmission, and there you have it. Look at that. And he's managed to get the bolt out. Look at that, beautiful. In there you go, glove off, and now we wait for it to drain. So yeah, don't get confused. The oil sump is further up the front. The auto transmission is in the middle of these, and then obviously you've got your diff at the back. And there'll be a video on how to change the diff oil on these on our YouTube channel, and I shall add this one, as well as when we do the auto transmission oil, we'll be following that up as well, to keep you guys in the know with all that we're doing. But yeah, as you can see, I don't know if you can see actually, yeah, we are draining out. There you have it, draining out. Skip the boring part, I'll show you when it's done. Now, I am going to try and show you guys where it is, but in relation to your sump nut, if you look through this tiny little access panel, you can see just there is your oil filter. Now that will need to be changed as well, so I'm going to get to that and try to show you guys how to the best way to get these off, but I'm not going to hold out hope on how good the viewing's going to be, so I just thought I'd show you where that is, the location, so that you guys are aware where that is. So in relation to your sump, it is where this access panel is, it's just through there, and you can access it under the vehicle by going, I don't know if I can show you guys from here, by going up there, putting your hand up. It's bang in the middle of the car basically. Now you're better off coming from the side to get to your oil filter, which is just here, this one here. Now I've already cracked this off, so it's just a case of spinning her off. Let her dry. Ah no, preferably into the kept going rather than all over you. But this is what we have granules for. Or cat litter does just the same job. Now that we've got that off, we're gonna wait for that to finish draining. We're gonna lube up our new oil filter, which I'll show you how to do, and refit. So there is your old filter in the old oil. That is absolutely disgraceful. But first thing you need to do is marry up the filter. Make sure they're the same type, which this one is. If you're looking for it online, it's a BFO 4056. If you are using a pattern part like me, you can order direct from Toyota, but these cars are getting harder and harder to get bits for, and pattern parts, if you get a trusted brand like Borg and Beck, Blueprint, and such like that, they are just as good. Now, when you grab the new filter, you need to remove, and let me try and position you in such a way where you can see it. You remove film, and this rubber ring here, you dip your finger in the old oil, just like so. After doing so, you get the old filter and you run your finger around the rubber seal. This will make it seal better. Let me see. And make sure there's no leaks. Now, I always get my finger and the thread that's there, just lubricate the thread so that you know it's going to go on all okay. And then reinstall, which I'll show you now. Now, always make sure you clean up your mess after you're done. As I say, if you can't for some reason afford granules, which they're pretty cheap anyway, if for any reason you can't afford them, cat litter granules are just as good. Now, I've got to find the bloody... Right, you wait a minute. I don't really want to get oil on my head if I can avoid it. So let's push you on. That's better. Here's the game of feeling Fred where I am. Got that down in a minute. Let's see if I can get a view where I can actually see what I'm doing. Because at the minute I am going by feeling, and I cannot see where I'm going with it. You can feel. There she is. Now don't go over tightening these. There is no need. As long as they are tight, they will be fine. The rubber seal's there for a reason. Now stuck. There you go. That's tight. There. Now do make sure when you are finished and you have drained out the oil to dispose of it responsibly. I always collect mine in an old washing liquid carton and take it to your local recycling centre or most mechanics garage. Most mechanics garages will take it off your hands with no quibble at all and dispose of it for you. This is a job that pretty much any DIY handyman can do himself. The trick is to follow the procedures. That way you won't have any comebacks with it. Back in the olden days, they used to mix it with creosote and then spray it on your fences. Not suggesting you do that this day and age, but it is very effective at prolonging fence panels. Also very bad for the environment, but hey, I'm not crap. Yeah, do make sure you dispose of it responsibly. Just like that. Just like that. The older generation will appreciate that one. I would usually leave it up against a wall like this to just drain, but I'm just showing you today how it can be done quite easily. That's making me need a wee. No, I'm kidding. Alright, that'll do it. I can't be bothered to wait for any more to come out. They're only going to change it again anyway. So, that's how you empty that. Now to reinstall the sump plug and refill. Now guys, just something quite cool while we're waiting for that oil to drain. Take a look over here. We have a spare engine oil reservoir which is filled with oil. Now this is for if the engine does burn some oil, this will top it up for you. So if you have any spare oil or have enough spare oil, it is always recommended to drain this out and replace it, but it's not imperative. So use your own discretion on that one. Just make sure where possible it is filled up to the fill line, which this needs doing. I will show you. Have a look. So situated right next to your washer fluid, you've got your spare engine oil top up reservoir. And it's got obviously two markings, one for the low side and one for the full, and also a notice on there just stating that there should be oil in this tank as well to keep the engine nice and happy. But yeah, we'll get on to the next bit. Right, now she's pretty much stopped. I mean, you're always going to get a little drip, but nothing too massive. As long as she is pretty much finished. Grab your old sump nut and finger tie her in. Now, a lot of people just go and ratchet them in. I like to finger tight them all the way. Before I do so, run your finger around, make sure there's no debris so that you've got a smooth mating surface and you're not going to get a leak. Send her home. Then ratchet her up. Now again, these don't have to be stupidly tight. Just make sure they ain't loose. 3. There you go. And I always like, while you're under here, just to tidy up the mess you've made, which I'll be doing with the oil that is on the floor afterwards as well. It also helps if, for any reason, there is an issue at a later date. If you've cleaned all the mess and oil that you've made, you can see exactly where the problem's coming from, which you can't do if you haven't cleaned it up. There you have it, nice and cleaned, nice and tight. If you want to double check it, you're more than welcome to. 1. Yeah, that's tight. So we're not leaving patches on people's driveways or anything like that. Just clean up where the oil's dripped. Pull it out, and we're good to go to refill. Now for the final procedure, which is to just refill. You take your 1040. Make sure you've got 6 litres. Now I've opted for quite a good grade of 1040, which is SN Hyperlude by Granville. This I have used on all of my customers' cars. I've never had any issues with it. So this is a brand I do trust and I do recommend highly. Hence why I'm using it in my own car. Now, you undo the cap. As you see, we've already done. Now I'm going to leave this on the floor down here so we don't get anything grubby. Take your funnel and you slide it into the funnel housing where the oil goes. Now, with the dipstick out, I'm not going to bother pulling that out yet because there's nothing in there. You need to make sure you've some nuts secure and your oil filter is secure. Once you've done that under the car, there really is nothing left to do under there. So you let everything down like your jack and tidy up. Then you get to this good bit. Now make sure you've got a rag just for when you want to test your dipstick. So that's a clean rag at the minute, but it won't be by the time we're done. Make sure, careful not to get on the seats. If you want to go mental, you can get a little cover to go over them. Now this is my own car, so I'm going to be very careful anyway. If it was a customer's car, usually I'd be chucking a cover over the seat just to be extra safe. But I do trust myself enough not to spill any. And I've done it a fair few times to say the least. Yeah, your new engine oil goes in. Making sure that there's no debris, just make sure that that's only the bottom of the filter. Right, there you go. Fill her up. Here's the good stuff. I'll try and change view for you so you can see. There you go, as promised, a better angle for you. Now I am going to dip it because I am at most of the ball. Now, I always, if you're doing this, just remove the funnel. Put it into the bottle. Oh look, I'm covering it all up for you. Put that like that so you guys can see what I'm doing. Clean that off. Now ideally, as you can see, there is a low. If you look just here, a low marking and a F for full. So it should be up here. I'm going to dip that. And we're barely even registering at the minute, which is a good thing. Because plenty of oil to go. Anyway. Again, as before, wipe her off. And now we're starting to see something, as you can see, on the dipstick, which is what we want to see. Not quite there yet, but getting close. The good thing is, when you do use these up completely, you can use them in future to put your waste oil in. That is something I like to do, so that we're recycling. And yeah, just to make sure you finish the job, just make sure you have this tight, the dipsticks in where it should be, and secure. Push this down, make sure it's all lined up. Push this down, turn it to the lock position so that we know it's all locked and not going anywhere. Now it does tend to click, so you know that it's all secure, not going anywhere. And then just replace your carpet to where it should be, and then just push your seat back. And that is it, job's a good one. Make sure your seat's secure. And until next time, job's done. And finally, just start and run up the car for 30 seconds before re-dipping your oil to make sure it is full, and reset the oil light by removing this bung here and pressing the oil change light with a long screwdriver or something of similar sort of potential, and then you are done. Don't forget to like, subscribe, follow, and yeah, just join part of the action across all of our socials. We're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, we are on YouTube, and we are on TikTok as well. Just look for Racer's Edge and look for our logo. And until next time, sorry about the croaky voice, but we'll see you next time, guys.